Welcome back to the People's Platform here on U97.5 FM. Of course, we have been discussing a range of matters affecting the people of this country, and one of the key issues that the country has had to be dealing with is the question of migrants to Trinidad and Tobago, especially coming from Venezuela. As we mentioned before the break, we do have with us Venezuelan activist, and of course other people would have known her as a well-known psychic. Let me say good morning, welcome. I guess I could say buenos dias and what is the word? What is the word for welcome?
Bienvenida.
Bienvenidos.
Sí,
Bienvenidos.
sí.
Bienvenidos a U97.5
Yes,
FM. To Yesenia Gonzalez. Welcome to you.
Okay. Well, good morning to everyone. Good morning to it's 975.
Yes, U97.5 FM.
Multicultural Radio.
Yes.
Nice name.
Thank
Yes.
you.
Thank you so much for having me here. It is a pleasure to be able to communicate with everyone who listen to this stage. I hope that everyone will continue listen to this even more now that I am here. And then, to have the experience with you all to, share this beautiful and positive energy station, right? And of course, I have the opportunity now to speak to everyone here. So as you say, my name is Yesenia Gonzalez. I am a human rights activist. I am a fighter not only for the Venezuelan but also for all the migrants and from different countries and so on. Even from Ghana, I help people from Ghana to come out of jail. So, my work has been there for a long time, even though most of the time people was focused me and more in the psychic world. But I also, I also have a few, maybe about 2 or 3 years before I became an attorney. But, things change, so I end up in Trinidad. Want to study, like for instance, language and so on, and then, thank God I end up here to learn English. In those days, things were so different in Trinidad. It was black and white. Eric Williams just died, the belated Eric Williams just died, so that's to tell you how long I'm here.
From the 1970s.
Yes.
Well,
black and white TV, one channel.
Black and white, and now we have so many channels.
Yes.
And so many different colors on TV.
And my first interview was with Alison Hennessy, Rose Soul in Peace. I know she always around me. She used to like me a lot and appreciate my work and my ability to be able to see through everything. Even she asked me once, do you think I will end up like an old lady? I really can't remember what I told her, but, fortunately she gone and she's in a better place, Yeah.
Well, Alison Hennessy is a well-known name in local media.
Yes. And recently I went to the restaurant. They're still there and I speak to the sister.
Yes.
It was nice,
Yes.
Life goes on.
Well, life goes on, and so many things have happened since you first come to now. Now Trinidad and Tobago has quite a community of Venezuelan migrants. Many of whom would have been here for several years, but many of whom would have come here given the situation in Venezuela with Nicolas Maduro and the government there. I know that
Unfortunately,
I know that it has not been easy for many Venezuelans here in Trinidad and Tobago, and there are many problems. As a human rights activist, what are some of your biggest concerns about the community here in Trinidad?
Well, my biggest concern is not something that I should say, I think the children is my biggest concern. Children not going to school is my biggest concern. Victim of human trafficking is my biggest concern. Women, agenda dealing with abuse and exploitation is a big concern as well. It's very serious concern. I am just surrounded by so many that basically I just find that instead that things get better, things just get worse, and you have no major improvement. And especially with the input of the government, I don't feel that they really are very willing to change this negative energy where, so many evil going on with children being abused, or children, they sell little children, 16, 15 years old, they put them on the market for sale, exploitation, Venezuela working so hard from, if you hear the timing from 6 in the morning until 11, 12 o'clock on the night in a restaurant. Most of the restaurants are Chinese restaurant, and basically they're working hard, and then at the end of the day they don't get paid. They don't pay them at all. They say, well, they're supposed to finish the work, and they don't pay them, because my phone is full of messages. People are asking me for help because they work and they don't pay them, so exploitation. They charge them $100 just for I want to tell you, from 8 to 11 o'clock on the night, 100 TT, and they have to pay transport, and it is a lot of exploitation there. And I believe everything is coming from discrimination and also xenophobia, and they figure, well, Spanish people, which they say Spanish people, we are not Spanish, we are Latinos, we are really Venezuelan, we are not Spanish, we are not from Spain. And they talk about, the Spanish people coming here. I don't think I see any Spanish people from Spain here yet, migrating to Trinidad. People are going to Spain now, a lot of Venezuelans went on to Spain to find a way out of the situation, the crisis in Venezuela, plenty Venezuela. So we don't have people from Spain here. We have Venezuelan here.
Let us talk about, you've raised several issues just now. You've mentioned different things.
Mm-hmm.
Let us talk about the first issue that you've raised, the issue of children not going to school. The Venezuelan community has been here. There are some children who were brought from Venezuela. Some children have been born here in Trinidad.
Mm-hmm.
What is that situation like in terms of children not going to school and households not being able to send their children to school?
Well, it's a very bad situation because children basically are universal and they have the rights by human rights to get into the school, and I believe that the government should try and their best. Besides make sure that every child, no matter from what country, no matter from what crisis a country experiencing, to give them the opportunity for education. If a child coming from Croatia or a child coming from Lebanon or a child coming from any part of the world want to get education and you refuse to give them education. I find that very, very sad because children are universal and they have the rights to protect them and to give them that opportunity for education. Those children growing up without going to school, you don't know what could become with those children. They could become that they will be exploited by sick people, and basically, these children are very smart, they are very intelligent, because if you notice, they're always in a little phone. They know the phone better than me, they're so intelligent and they're so innocent, How the government could really, refuse to give children to school, going to school, How come, basically going back into the same situation by not following the international law that they actually should follow. So everything is falling back in that way, because...
So is it that children have been applying for schools and are being rejected? Or is it that some Venezuelan households cannot afford to send their children to school?
No, the parents are prepared to send them to school anyhow. If you check my home, you will see books, children books to learn and all of that I get as a form of charity. I know the problem will be the language, but it's the opportunity now for the little children, Trinidadian, or from any part of the world who are migrating here, to learn the language, to learn English, Spanish, It's an educational thing, an opportunity for the children to really be in school, and the parents willing to send them to school. Every parent, I think that is the most important thing that coming from your heart. I want to send my child to school. I remember when I had my two sons, the first thing I was like, learn ABC, and I used to write down the words even in the bathroom. For every morning they get up, they see, hola, ¿cómo está? How are you? I speaking to them in both language, because you have to teach your children, to educate the children, and all of that. And it's sad that the government refused to send those to give the children the opportunity to go to school, because they say that they're illegal here. Children will never be illegal in any part of the world. Children are come here because of a crisis in Venezuela, and regardless of what, children should be given the opportunity for education. The Catholic Church give them a lot of opportunity for education, and I believe that the government has to change the policy, and they will trying to at least open the door for all the children to go to school. You know, I mean, it's sad, but because it's just not a good sign. It's not a good sign. To me, that is a very bad way for Trinidad and Tobago in the eyes of the world to see that the government in Trinidad refused to give children education, and they bad treating the immigrants in the sense that the first thing is when they come in here, put them in jail. IDC is a place where they have a lot of Venezuelans there. You know, that don't supposed to be a place like a jail.
Criminal detention center.
Yeah, I agree. I am 100% agree that any Venezuelan who come in here with bad intention or in criminal activities, they should be investigating, and they should be sending them back and put them in jail. I tell them, put them in jail, because they don't have no right to be here, you know, or right to destroy any human being, you know, because you don't know. So when they express themselves for those who come in here, and they put all of them in jail, they say all of them is criminal. I know Trinidad always has been a country that is very territorial in this sense, because remember you're coming connected to England, where England was like a very it's still a ruling country. You know, I think all of that is in your blood now. You know, you have a little bit of the English, you know,
loyalty.
You know. So, but that doesn't mean in England they don't treat children bad. You know, if you take a case in England, look at what happened. They lost, the Privy Council lost with the 17 children. I mean, it's a shame. It's an embarrassment.
So, is it that school principals have been refusing to let children to come to school? Or is it the ministry that has been refusing to let children go to school?
To tell you the truth, they basically openly, the government have expressed themselves about not having no Venezuelan here, go back. And if you notice the deportation order, they don't care. They deporting the mother and the father. There is Trinidadian who are with a Venezuelan, and they have like 2 children. And they give deportation order, you know, to send back the children. And put the children on the sea. They don't even deport them. They expel them. They throw them on the ocean. That is inhuman. That is violation of human rights. You can be putting children in a boat. They coming out from a boat, running, because basically if things was nice in Venezuela, they would not be here.
Let's talk about deportations. I remember that recently there was a case where the matter was supposed to be heard before the court, and the government sent a number of Venezuelans via plane to Venezuela before the case was heard. What has the situation been like with respect to deportations in the country?
It is worse every day. They deporting people even though they are SUCR registered in the United Nations. They're going through the process of sending them to a different country like Australia and Canada. Canada opened the door to have them, and it's a process. What I would like the people in Trinidad and Tobago to understand, that when the Venezuelans are here seeking asylum, they just using Trinidad as a base to go through the process of the, you know, resettlement.
Yes.
That they do the resettlement, and then getting a sponsor, you know, to open the door. In Canada, there is places in Canada that they wish if everybody from Venezuela could have reached there. You understand? Because they're willing to help, they're willing to open the door for them. So it is a process. It's not that they're coming here to stay forever. They're coming here for a time. The problem is that the process is very slow. You understand? So while the process is slow, remember they can't work. They have to be legal here. That is one of the things that the government applied, that they must be legal. That is why the United Nations, they pay the registration that it was for getting the work permit. They pay for that. The government didn't pay anything. The government never give nobody, no Venezuelan, nothing, you know. When you see they come in and say, oh, we're not here to house them, they don't ask for house. They just want to come here, go through the process, and then go into different country where they could live comfortably and start a new life. You understand? Because I think there is an arrangement where they go there for a year before, they eventually be independent. You understand? Somehow or the other, they have to pay their way when they to work there and to give the government the time of energy or work, labor, and all of that. Like in Trinidad, I think Trinidad government are not thinking right, because these people are here are very professional. They are agriculture. They could have opened the door for that. They have so many to learn. Not that the Trinidadian also are very professional. They're very educated. But you need to develop a world. You need to join together in the different forces. You can't say I know everything. I am a tenny. I know everything, because you always in life have to continue learning. And when you meet people from other country who have a different level of education, and they could share with you, and you could grow with that, and even the Trinidadian helping the professional in Venezuela, it's a great opportunity, and I don't think they taken advantage of it.
How many legal Venezuelans are here, and how many illegal Venezuelans are here? Do you know?
Well, it's very hard to really know that. I have an idea. Because based on
your activism.
Yes, but it's a lot coming here and a lot going back.
Now, you've spoken about a very...
But a lot going back because they've been deported. They're giving deportation order. And they are harassing them. Why you don't get the ticket? Go and get the ticket. Where the people will get a ticket? You give them deportation order. They had the SUR card. They show the immigration look. They disregard that. And that is bad, because sooner or later, the relationship in the government in Trinidad and the government in America are going to go sour. And Trinidad will look bad. Will look like we here, we are animals. You understand? All the animals, look how they treating the people and this and that, and especially children, So, all of that, it look back in the eyes of the world. They're not looking good right now. Especially right now, they are not looking good. Losing all these cases with C.J. Williams, right? I am in a foundation with C.J. Williams, which is 3 people working to see how much Venezuelan. He will give you an idea how many more than me, because he's a lawyer.
C.J. Williams is a lawyer.
Yes, I work with him in his foundation. The foundation is Teams Foundation of America. We have 4 people in that foundation. We help them to get legal advice. We help them to get. I am on the background all the time, helping them to pass all the information going on with immigrants, with the Venezuelan, who bad, who not bad, who good, who not good, how many children going to school and all of that. And we are on top of everything. And I mean, he's on the fight every time he got to go to court, because everything is about violation the rights of the children, violation the rights of the women. It is horrible. If you hear the story, you would not believe, but it's horrible.
2 years ago, maybe 3 years ago, the government had a big exercise seeking to regularize Venezuelans. That exercise took place at the Queen's Park Oval. Stuart Young was the Minister of National Security.
Yeah, and they got a lot of money. They got a lot of money from the government of America. They pay for every single thing, and it was plenty money. The government don't even buy a bottle of water to give those people who was on the street line up for hours and hours and hours. Little children, they don't have nowhere to go, no washroom, no facility, because I was there and the grown helping them. And it was horrible, a horrible experience, and they disregard all of that. You understand? The way they set up the whole thing, it was totally disorganized. The Minister of National Security, he do not have any experience in immigration matters, and he, to me, that he was a big disappointment. I mean, it was so bad that a lot of people really suffer. A lot of people didn't get registered. Some of them they deported. Some of them left. Some of them they was afraid to stay here because he himself was saying, "Go for them, man. Let the police go for them. Arrest all of them." And in the night, or was on the night, like 3 o'clock in the morning, they would go in people's house and they would wake up children, police with gun. You understand? And trying to get them out and put them in jail and taking the father and beat them up. And if you see the amount of report that we have about that, it is very, very sad. Children watching a police with a big gun 3 o'clock in the morning, right in Chagoramas. There are a lot of Venezuelans who live in there, right in Chagonas and all over the place. And they say, well, they're looking for illegal migrants because everybody is criminals, you know, I mean to say. And then you don't care whether they have little children or no. You don't know if you have a really an order to come in. And all of that, they broke all the violate, everything. If the Minister of National Security, which is a former Minister of National Security, Sturgeon, could have tell and openly, go for them, man, go for them, deport everybody, that, you know, deport all those people. I mean, obviously, you know that. You know, it was he was saying it over and over and over, and it was very sad. And that is when a lot of them was treated really bad, even the women and all of that.
So since that regularization exercise, people were supposed to have been allowed in the country for 1 year, to stay for a year, and after the year they could have been renewed.
But even those who are registered, do you know they deport them too? Having that registration, that is one of the fight that C.J. Williams have, because some of them register and they still deport them. They don't care. They just say go back.
Let's talk about Venezuelans.
But there's a lot of this problem in Trinidad basically is come from the chief immigration officer, because I believe the chief immigration officer was involved in all of this, and I think, of course, national security will work according to the information the immigration is give them, because if the immigration give the Minister of National Security certain report or data of who, obviously he will look at that, but they're not investigating it. So the chief immigration officer, which is charming, I think she resigned, thank God, or she, no resign, sorry, she retired, to what I understand. Thank God for that she gone.
Dios mío.
You know? Yes, she was responsible for a lot of things that went wrong with those Venezuelans. Responsible. But then she turned around and said,
Dandy.
yeah, Charmaine. But then she said that she blaming the minister, she blaming this one, she blaming that one, she blaming that one. No, nobody want to take responsibility for their own action, you know.
Let's talk about crime. There are many people who are saying Venezuelans are welcome here, but Venezuelans are involved in gangs. Recently we saw where one body was cut up and put in a river, and the Minister of National Security said that that type of action is similar to Venezuelan and Latin American gangs. There are many people who are watching Venezuelans and are saying that Venezuelans are involved in gang activity. They have formed themselves into criminal gangs, and they are causing more problems than good. Or what are your thoughts on that?
Well, yes, I agree that there is some criminals coming here, you know. But how they reaching here? Because one, they don't speak the language. Two, where they getting the gun? Who bring them here? Who is the people who bring them here? And let me tell you, these guns is starting from the human trafficking. They are involved. There's a big operation with human trafficking, and they are part of it. And some of them will basically are criminals who coming here. I don't know how they find themselves here, but I agree that they should investigate and I agree they should deal with it. But not everybody is criminal in Venezuela here. I am not a criminal. I am from Venezuela. I never kill anybody. You understand? I never hurt anybody. You can't just judge one person and say, well, you know, because he killed somebody, everybody so. I mean, the criminals element is very bad in Trinidad right now. And the majority of the criminals element are not Venezuelans, but they are Trinidadians. They are some from some other country, you know, that involve in criminal activities, you know. And I hate, and I constantly hate to see when I hear a Venezuela get in a fight, or a Venezuela kill a woman, or Venezuelan break into somebody business. You don't believe how much I hate that I nearly get into problems because there was a fight about two Venezuelans. I was trying to tell them, stop it, you know, put them in jail, because the police was like standing up there and doing nothing. I said, put them in jail, arrest them, and the police was just stand up there and see these two people fighting. Like they was just wanted something bad to happen, to say, when a Venezuelan, look, they killed the man. You don't wait for things like that to happen. You could imagine you seeing a police officer standing up and seeing two Venezuelan guys fighting, and they just stand up watching, and they don't doing nothing. Like, you know, like if you a cockfight, and then you waiting which one,
Who kill who?
who kill who? The same thing, the same kind of approach. I mean, there is some police who will act immediately, which I am very proud of those police officers who really work very hard when it's coming to criminal element. Like somebody was robbing somebody in City Gate, and they called the police, and like the police were like, it was like a movie. The police were reversing that car so fast to go to City Gate. They reversed that whole road, and they was able to catch the man. I admire that.
Do you know of any Venezuelan gangs that are operating in Trinidad? Have you heard of any gangs that have been formed with Venezuelans?
Well, I can't really comment on that, because remember that is a very serious, serious thing with this gun. Those guns don't easy, when they kill you, they just throw you in and disappear you, and you just have to be very careful. But unfortunately, there is criminal element. I think we should try to, the government should, the authorities should investigate it more, but not everybody, all the Venezuelans are gangster. I don't believe so. No.
We are speaking with Ms. Yesenia Gonzalez, Venezuelan activist right here on the People's Platform. We're speaking on a range of issues, and when we get back from these messages, we'll continue the conversation right here on the People's Platform on U97.5 FM.